Hey guys, what is up? It is Pudding here, back with some more REDU content for you. I've been gone in Germany for around 3 weeks, visiting some relatives and at a wedding, which is why I haven't been uploading, and also why we haven't had a locals in a while. But just as an announcement, it's very short notice, but this Sunday at 8 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. CT, and 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to be hosting a free-to-enter redo tournament with a prize of 100 Canadian dollars up for grabs. It's going to be 70% to first place and 30% to second, and that is going to be on July 6th, I believe. But what I wanted to do, kind of, because I haven't uploaded in a while, is just do another recap video. I did one of these before Rivals the last time, and we're currently working on Rivals 2, which should happen in the next few months. But until then, I just wanted to do a recap of all the Excalibur Cups, and there was also one Wizards of Windup that happened in the last little while. So just show you guys the cool, unique decks. There's some that have been making very good headway and are a very fun thing if you want to just explore the format more and try something new. So we'll be covering those, and yeah, let's get into it. The first event after Rivals was Excalibur Cup 6. That was won by Panna. Panna is a very good player. He's topped in multiple formats. He has some great Teach Me How to Cooks with Fraser, so I highly recommend watching his Whale OTK Teach Me How to Cook. But yeah, this was 30 players, and I think this was our first locals win with agents. So this is Panna's list here. And if you look at it, it is not a Trooper Agent build. There is, however, 3 Thunder King and a lot of hand traps. 3 Maxi, 3 Herald, and we see more real traps, no Call to Haunteds in this list either. So this is more of a pure list, which kind of just focuses on summoning and protecting your guys. Mirror Force is an interesting check choice. This catches a lot of people off guard, and people really overextend into it because nobody expects it, especially game 1, and especially in a deck like Agents. But yeah, I think it's a pretty solid list. And the second place list was Saxo Hard. He was on Trooper Agents. So as we can see, here's the 3 Call to Haunted, 2 Card Trooper. We're also playing 3 Herald and 2 Maxi, 1 less hand trap. But I really like this kind of build, either with the 3 Thunder King and 2 Trooper, or just with the 3 Thunder King, because it gives you a lot more solid normal summons. That's one of the biggest problems agents can have in this format. Your engine is so small that sometimes you just need to summon something, and this deck has so many strong normal summons. The Troopers, the Tour Guides, the Thunder Kings, the Venus, the Earth. It pretty much will have some kind of starter or some kind of floodgate to summon on the first turn. Interestingly enough, there's Heavy Slump for the Maxis on the side. And I'm just going to look at these for a tiny bit of time. Hero Max, or Haro Max, got 3rd with Hero Beat. It's an interesting build with the Chevalier as a Rhoda target that can also be G-Sparked. Notably only 2 Bubble Man. I wouldn't call this Bubble Beat with 3 Spark and the Hero Blast. But very cool, unique list. Then this deck, I believe this one got, I think it was like top 16 at one of the YCSs in the format. And this deck can actually be very scary. It pretty much just plays Machina and then Gear Town with Necro Valley. Necro Valley is really strong in this format, and this deck can really abuse it. Malefic Cyber Dragon is also just a massive beater to summon, and I've seen some games end like instantly with Malefic Cyber plus Limiter. You also have 3 Skill Drain, which is good against nearly every meta deck. You've got Bribes to protect your Skill Drain and your field spells. You got 1 Fiendish Chain, 3 Compulse, and some other cards. I think this deck is actually pretty good. Somebody else has tried playing it. I don't think it's like up there with the better decks in the format, but I think it's like solid tier 2.5 or something like that, solid tier 2. Then we got Carl, who topped again with Chaos Dragons. Carl is a regular in our server who does very, very well with this deck, one of the better players with it. We got Dino Rabbit. Looks like a pretty standard list here, or Macro Rabbit. Then we got Honey playing Karakuri. Honey is usually known for playing Six Samurais, and we'll get into it. They got another top recently at Wizards of Wind Up 5, so we'll discuss that. But you're going to see a lot more Samurais coming up because somebody put a bounty on them. If you win a locals with 6 Samurai, you get an extra $20 on top of whatever the prize is. But I think this deck is interesting. It's a bit worse without Solar Windjammer, but it makes Snap Beast really easily, and Gear Town, I guess, is your replacement Solar Windjammer. Then we have another Agent build, and that is it. I think this is going to be the only locals left that had a top 8, because the other ones that happened afterwards were a tiny bit smaller. So the next one here that we're going to look at is Excalibur Cup 7. This one was won by Ghost Rider, again, very famous Dragon Turbo player from Edison. Also has a YouTube channel, has some redo videos there. I'd recommend you check that out. And this is the Dark World list that Ghost Rider played. It's very fast and also kind of abuses skill drain, which you don't actually see in a lot of decks. Then it also has Trance and Dark Smog, which is a really good discard outlet, and it's actually really strong against a ton of decks in the format. I think Smog is a good card, but most people side it. I think it just gives you an extra discard outlet game 1 and kind of helps you not brick. But I think this list is pretty good. And I'm not sure if Ghost Rider is still on the exact same list, but definitely something to check out. Next up we have Karakuri Girgia, that got second from Cotton Candy Brandy, and looks like a fairly standard list. The card cards are unique. The card cards are definitely unique. We're still on the 3 call that we've been seeing in a lot of the Karakuri Girgias. It's kind of popularized by Bronte. And yeah, otherwise just very similar list. He's playing 3 of the MKs, 1 Birdman, and yeah, that's the list. Let's get into the next one. This was Oiram. Oiram is, I believe he runs the hat format discard, or he used to. I think he's the one who hosts like all the Moral Tech monthlies, but he's been making waves with ninjas. So this was the first time he entered. He got 3rd place. This was Ninja Chaos, and we'll be seeing more of our friend Oiram. But Axe Dragonoot as a target that you can just kind of get out off of Transformation. It's good because Transformation here does not send as a cost. So if they MST, or if they Lance, or if they something, you keep your monster if they MST. If they Lance their monster, you still get to special summon from deck. It doesn't fizzle if you've got a level 4. So he played 3 of the Axe Dragonoot. This also breaks armor. It's a dark, and it's just not a bad card. And then 1 Light Pulsar is a slightly bigger target you can get out, and then just Chaos Engine. 3 Golden, which is a 1 card rank 4 by discarding a trap, and it searches, or it summons Hanzo, which searches another copy of itself. So it is essentially a 1-for-1 XYZ. And if you have 2 traps, you can actually go Golden, into Hanzo, search another Golden, and then make Shockmaster. But very cool deck. I like seeing Ninja's top. I think Hanzo is just a very good card. It's a good 1-card engine, and it's really obnoxious in a simplified game state without priority. And the last one was Chainburn by Ominous Omen. Ominous Omen, I think this is their 2nd top that they've had. It's a pretty scary deck, but I think it just got shut out in the end by a Royal Decree. So yeah, that is Excalibur Cup 7. There were only 16 players in this one. And then Excalibur Cup 8, the next one, only 15 players, but we saw Inzectors take it. I think there was something screwed up here with the pairing somehow when we were doing them. I think it messed up. The finals for this, I believe, was actually Inzector against Inzector. It was Stratos 1 against Alamasters, and Alamasters end up taking it. I think Alamasters, I've been watching them play, they're playing pretty well, and I think Inzectors is just a deck that needs a good pilot. This list here, we're seeing the Tour Guides, the Sangan, we're not seeing any Tomatoes, we're seeing the Troopers. I think this deck actually has some very good matchups in the format, and it's one of the only decks that really doesn't care too much about windup, and Shocklock is pretty easy to avoid with this deck. If they call traps on the 2nd turn, they're in big trouble because you just activate the roar and then they can't respond to your turn and you can usually clear whatever board they put up. This deck also has no problem with Messenger Peace, no problem with Factory, because Hornet is just free removal. But I think this deck is underrated. I've been playing it more. I really like it. I've made some slight changes to my list, but I think Inzectors is a very fun deck. So yeah, the other list was, I believe, Stratos 1 with Inzectors. We don't have that here, but we do have Emmy Davies. They were playing the same Ancient Gear machine deck. Then we have behind the Dual Disc Ty. He was playing Dark World, and Jason Paradox with Chaos Dragons. Again, this is after the first place. These are not... I think Ty was in the top 4. I'm not sure about Jason, because we're missing Stratos. So I think there were actually 16 players, and something just went funky. Next up, here's where we saw 2 very, very cool innovations take place. One of them has rapidly become one of my favorite decks of the format. And yeah, the first one is Grand Soil Machina, built by Jay. And Jay actually just missed the top in Wizards 5 with this, but has been having very good success with the deck. We've been calling it BAM, Beast Aggro Machine. And what it does is you play the Beast King, who is just a 3800 monster that you special summon by banishing a machine type monster and a Beast Warrior type monster from your hand, field, or graveyard. But your opponent takes no battle damage. Still, against decks like Dark World, this can be really annoying to out. Very annoying to out. Then 2 Trooper as a starter, 3 card D for some draw power, a Veiler, Gigantes for some grave regulation, then 3 Grand Soil, 3 Machina Cannon, and you'll see why this is played in a second. 3 Fortress, one of the best cards in the format. Fortress is amazing. 3 Gearframe, Maxis, Tragodias for defense, along with the Gores, a Dark Hole, a Chalice. It's really funny when you damage to Chalice this, and you can just deal like 2,000, 3,000 damage on an attack. Heavy Storm, Reborn, MST, Duality, 3 trade-in, so this is why you play it. Your copy of Gearframe can search your cannon, which you can use as a trade-in target. You can use to special Fortress from your grave. A lot of possibilities with that. Cannon is actually useful in this deck to summon itself. You can summon your own cannon by discarding any machine, which is your card Trooper. There's so much inherent synergy in the deck. And then you can make something like a Heliopolis with the Barbaros, which is pretty strong. And then 3 Reckless Greed. And then for the side, we see Gozen Matches, we see Skill Drain, which is very, very, very strong again, and Decrees, some Lances, the other 2 MSTs, Gemini Imps, Veilers, and Cyber Dragons. The next build, which I thought was really, really cool, was by our friend Oiram, and this is Dino Rabbit, but it just plays 3 Hanzo. So it is Dino Rabbit with 3 Hanzo, a Rhoda to search your Hanzo, and 2 copies of Transformation. And what this does is it just gives Dino Rabbit another starter card. So instead of having a hand where you have like a bunch of Guaibas and stuff that don't really do much unless your opponent plays into them, the Hanzo is an amazing first turn card. And as said, due to the fact that Super Transformation here does not send as a cost, if they MST your transformation, you're still +1. You've still got a very big beater, which is an 18 beater on Hanzo. He's level 4 you can use for XYZs. And if they can't respond, it just sends a monster from their field to the graveyard, and you get any of your vanillas from your deck, which I think is fantastic. Obviously, you can sometimes brick when you draw the transformations, and you don't really see the Hanzo, but I still think it's a really cool addition to the deck, and I think maybe the list can be tinkered with a little bit, but I do really enjoy it and think it's a solid list. Also helps with Dino Rabbit's biggest problem, which is big monsters. Like, Dino Rabbit really struggles against something like a Shining, against something like a Grapha that's already established. Hanzo, you just search the transformation, send that, and you're done with that. So, really cool list from Oiram. Again, pushing ninjas a bit further and bringing them some spotlight. 2 tops back to back. Then we had Cotton Candy Brandy again, playing Dino Rabbit. Just a standard Macro Rabbit list here. And then we had Bertaz playing Agents. And this one is the Double Trooper, Triple Thunder King Call variant. We're also going to see warnings here. So slightly different from the other list that topped with 3 Compulse. And I just want to show you guys a replay of Jay's deck, so you can kind of see how it works. The deck really pushes damage fast. Not a very good hand from Cotton Candy Brandy. 2 vanillas, a Sangan, a Warning, and a Bottomless. But one of the things is this deck has such a powerful Grand Soil, like an immensely powerful Grand Soil. And so we're going to see him attack into Trooper. There's going to be a Tragodia. Grand Soil gets dropped immediately. That's going to eat a Warning, and now a fat 3000 Tragodia is going to slam in. We're going to see Duality for the Machine King. Might trade in that off. Yeah, get to an MST and a Fortress. MST on that. Sangan is going to search a Tour Guide. And another vanilla, so not a very good can from Cotton Candy Brandy again. But we're going to see him turtle up, make his end mains. Just get rid of the Trooper here. And yeah, he's going to make a big eye there, and Cotton Candy Brandy scoops because his set was a Beloved Heavy Storm. We see a level limit in the side, which is kind of interesting. Macro flipped right off the bat. He's going to trade in and trade in again. He gets to a Decree. Set that Decree, end phase Decree. This is huge. I think this might... No, it's not lethal. I'm not sure why he didn't Chalice beforehand. Just to get a bit more damage in, but... Oh no, right, it negates the effect. So, it's like Book of Moon. An SD on the level limit, and we're just going to see kind of another explosion. Obviously, Decree doing a lot of work here, but this deck makes Big Eye very consistently. So, very, very cool deck. Had a lot of people try it and really like it, so I recommend you guys do the same if it looks interesting to you. I'm just going to go back on the format library here, and let me get the last Excalibur Cups. Sorry for having to do this kind of awkwardly. They only allow a certain amount of tabs open on Format Library. But this was Excalibur Cup 10. We had 19 players, and it was won by BR1 on Machina Georgia. So it was Machina Georgia in first and second. I think the lists look fairly similar. One MK2, one Georgiano. There was one Force being played in this list, interestingly. Soul Taker in the main. And Moore's list was 40, 3 Max C, Thunder Kings. So actually fairly different lists, just one cannon. And I don't think BR was on call. Yeah, BR wasn't on call. Then we have Honey with 6 Samurai. Again, this is Honey's pet deck. Honey has been doing very, very well with this. And if you want to look at a good 6 Samurai player, I highly recommend checking out some of Honey's replays from the last Wizards of Windup. I'm not 100% sure what the standard Samurai build is, but I really like these super fast-paced Asceticism builds. You have some double-edged sword techniques for recovery, which this deck struggles with. And yeah, Honey plays a lot of floodgates. 2 Rivalry, Macro, 3 D Fisher, 3 Max C, and an E-Virus. And then we also had 6 Samurai in the other 3rd to 4th spot. This one's playing Safe Zone, so slightly different list. Again, lots of 3-ofs there. Interestingly, no Rivalry. I think that's the best side card in the format, so that's something I would definitely put in. But yeah, this was, as I said, when we kind of had that pot bonus going, so that's why we're going to see a lot more 6 Samurais in the tops. And then we had Excalibur Cup 11, and this is won by Poongod 69. Poongod actually has one of the highest win rates on Format Library. Discovered that out. We're like at a 85% win rate in ranked matches, and Poongod was rocking Psychic, so this was our first Psychic win. Poongod's list plays Treacherous. It's off the Miracle Synchro Fusion, which I think is the way to go. I don't think that's a very good engine. An Axon Kicker is not worth going into something like a Magical Android instead of an Etruria Beast 4. But yeah, 3 Itelli 3 Wizard. I think Wizard is an amazing floater. Very, very strong card. We're also going to see Poongod on double copies of Duality. 2 Valor, 3 Max C, and then the standard hand traps in Gores and Double Tragodia, which are fantastic in the deck. And yeah, just think, I love Psychics. I think this is a pretty good deck, and Fungad has been having good success with it. Jumper is a nasty card. Second place was No Special Pleading, and she was on Six Samurais. I think this was her first time playing Six Samurais, and she just kind of threw the deck together. But one of the best players in the format, had a lot of success with heroes in a lot of our bigger tournaments. And yeah, this is her list. We actually see 1 copy of Backs to the Walls instead of Double-Edged Sword Technique. If you don't know what this is literally just like a soul charge. You pay until you have 100 left, and then you get as many Six Samurai monsters from your grave as possible. They don't die at the end, which is amazing. So you don't risk the burn that you have with Double Edge. But obviously it puts you so low, any damage will kill you. Yeah, and that was, I believe, the last Excalibur Cup that was played. We had, in third place, Aopeeb playing Electromotike. This is the first time we saw this being played in the tournament. I actually think the deck is really decent, even if you don't open with the Fusion Gate chain material combo. Just Fusion Gate plus Stratos is just Shining, that gets back Shining, because if they clear it and they can't make it miss timing, you just get your Stratos back, get your Alias back, and you're set to make another Shining immediately. I think this deck is actually pretty good. Puts out a lot of big monsters that people have trouble with, and yeah, it just plays like standard Hero Beat or Fusion Gate Beat, and then if you resolve Chain material and they don't have Valor or Fiendish Chain, you just loop them, and then you Gustav Max burn them to death. So probably one of the more degenerate decks of the format, but it's fun if you want to change of pace. And it's not like an FTK, it never FTKs. And there are a lot of ways to stop it too. And then we had Brogan. Brogan, again, very good player, seen a lot of success in our events, and they were on Wind Up this time with Cardcar. I know Cardcar is like a subject of debate. We don't see any of the messengers in the main deck, they're instead in the side. And then we're seeing main deck Max C's and Valors in this list as well. Now, let's go over the last, let's do Wizards of Wind Up here. Last big Wind Up tournament, REDU tournament that was played. This was 46 players, so smaller than the last one, but this was Format's Library multi-day Wizards of Wind Up. And this one was won by Ricky, playing Hero Beat. Ricky has been dominating with this deck. Notably, Ricky was our only undefeated throughout the entire first Excalibur Cup, or sorry, not Excalibur Cup, our first Rivals tournament. I think Ricky was like 8-0 or something like that. So, but then got a bad draw and died in top 16. But again, huge success with the deck. Ended up taking first place in the tournament. Then we had Chaos Dragons in second. This is actually also an error. This player was disqualified for being an alt. So this was actually not the second place list. I believe the second place list was this one right here. So this is Jack Sworn, also on Hero Beat. So we had 2 of these Hero Beat lists in the top. Both first and second. I think this deck is really strong, and most notably, it has a very good wind-up matchup. Cards like Hero Blast, Gemini Spark, just summoning a big Shining and protecting it with back row, and being able to put wind-up on a clock when they open slow. I think this deck has a very good matchup. And then you also get side cards like Rivalry. You can put in things like Super Poly to get over Rabbit. I think it's a very good deck. But yeah, so first and second were Hero Beat, and I think there were 6 different decks in the top 8, so very cool. Icaros also, I believe, got top 8 at Rivals 1. Playing Chaos Dragons again. I think this looks like a pretty standard list. 2 Valor, 2 Max C, so lighter on the hand trap count. And otherwise, yeah, it looks fairly standard. Then we have Wind Up being played by Marcus Lal. if you are trying to get into the format and you want to play windups, look at Marcus's replays. He is by far the best windup player, him and Lido, that I've observed, and will teach you how to properly play the deck. There's a lot of things, like a lot of people, when they get max seed playing windups, if they're playing in something like Geargia, they will stop even if their opponent doesn't have back row. And I think Marcus kind of encompasses the fact that you just go for the OTK in that case, because most of the like pure Geargia decks are not on Agors, so you can just kill them through it. And yeah, if you want to see some really good lines, some really good OTKs, check out Marcus's gameplay. And he is still on the Messenger of Peace build that him and the Bongo Boys kind of developed and did really well with in Wizards of Windup 4. Then the 5th place was also Cold Madness on Windup, so 5th to 8. This is everybody who lost their first Switch Mass now. Pretty similar list. Trying to see if there actually is any difference. Marcus was on only one effect failure, I believe. And there's like a slight difference in their trap lineup. Marcus is on Pot of Duality for consistency, which I think is very smart. And we do not see that in Cold Madness's list. Then we had Dino Rabbit, which got also 5th through 8 by El Loco 22. So this is just a standard Macro Rabbit list. And then Insectors, Alamaster also managed to get top 8. Was the only Insector list in there. And yeah, I think Pro Storm was also pretty close to getting a top 8 with Insectors. But this is the list: 3 calls, the Troopers, no Tomato, again, Spirit Reaper instead to stall, and then the traps are all chainable, which I think is the way to go with Insectors. Also, just being able to like compulse your own Centipede or Dragonfly if they try and Veiler or Interrupt, so you have it next turn, is really important with how small your engine is. And then Honey also got top 8 with Samurai, and this is Honey's most recent list. I might have to see if Honey ever wants to come onto the channel and do a 6 Samurai video. I know some people have been requesting that, so we'll see what we can do. But these are the tournaments that happened within the last like month and a half, 2 months. And as said, if you guys want a chance to play, on Sunday, July 6th, we will be having that free $100 Canadian REDU tournament in our Discord. That'll be linked down below if you want to join. And again, the time for that is 8 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. CT, or 11 a.m. EST. And yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching. I'll be putting out some more content soon, and hope you guys have a great day. Cheers.